What's going on, guys? This is No Filter, and this is my review for Pato Box for the Nintendo Switch. Pato Box is an over-the-shoulder fighting game, very much akin to, yes, the Punch-Out series, and it comes to us from Bromeo. When I say very much like Punch-Out, I mean almost identical. It has the same dodge to the left, dodge to the right, hold back to basically block, and then you hit up or you hit their stomach, and that's pretty much what you have. That's the main gameplay of Pato Box, and I love it. I love that they kept it very simple so that the characters and the unique style can really shine, and that the gameplay also doesn't get too complicated, because some of these boss battles you face here can be pretty insane and take a lot of focus to really get a hold of and get the timing down correctly. So the story, you follow Pato Box, and he's living his dream. He's a boxing champion, and he's basically fighting on one of the biggest stages out there. And while on a break, his water gets spiked basically, and he ends up lying in a back alley, and he's been stabbed in the back, and you think he's about to die. Fortunately, he does wake up, and he gets saved, and he's now going to Deathflox HQ. I imagine they were his promoters, and just to see what happened. Why was I murdered, or why was I almost killed and left in a back alley when I was at the top of my game in boxing? It's Pato Box is a duck head on a human body. Very unique style, but that's not the only really unique part of the gameplay style here. The very first thing you'll notice about Pato Box is it is entirely in black and white. Think to one of my favorite Wii games, Mad World. Yes, the game looks freaking gorgeous. It looks amazing. So everything is black and white, and it has so much style to it. Think basically Mad World mixed with Punch-Out for the Wii. Put them together, put them in 2D art style, and this is what you have. It's really striking, and I really enjoy it. It's just really well made, and just the art direction is just fantastic. So the way the game actually plays and goes through is basically you go through a room where you're trying to find hints about the upcoming boss that you're going to be facing. So basically you're walking around, you're opening and hitting meat bags or something as you go through this themed level leading up to the boss. You find all these hints about how you can defeat the boss. You usually get about 3 hints every time you go through, and then you come up to the boss battle and you fight them a la Punch-Out. And the fights are actually really good. The choreography that they have for the enemies and the bosses and their patterns and puzzles, really well made. It is very tough though. The game is a very tough game for sure. It's not holding your hand whatsoever, but that does give you reason to search through the level to find the tips for how you can beat the bosses, so it doesn't take as much time to actually figure it out yourself. However, that is where one of my biggest gripes about the game comes from, is because the actual game leading up to the boss is not fun. It's just not fun. You're just walking through these levels. While it does look pretty, but the only bit of gameplay is you go up to something, there's a weird hitbox that might not work half the time, you then hit A, you might find something, you read that, then you go on ahead until you hit the boss. The actual fights are amazing, but going through story mode in this game and having to go through all these levels was really a bore to me, and I was so happy that they had an arcade mode, which was basically just punch out, go and fight the enemies, have fun. You know what I mean? And that is what I feel like the game should have maybe stayed with. I feel like the story, while I do enjoy having more meaty story, it does give you more reason to buy the game at full price, for example, because there's a lot of content with the story, and the story does actually have some interesting sort of delusions and story elements to it. It's kind of interesting to kind of go through just to kind of see what's going to happen with Pato Box and the other enemies you're going to come up with. But again, just the gameplay leading up to the bosses, I just did not enjoy whatsoever, and that is really what kind of dragged me down a little bit with this game. But again, other than that, the actual boss battles, I love it. The actual bosses are so unique. They have, for example, one of the first guys, you have this one guy who's like a chef. He's basically throwing, meat at you, and you have to hit some of the stuff into a stew that he then drinks, and then he gets hurt and he blows himself up, and there's all this crazy stuff going on there. There's another girl who's like has a robotic leg, and she has her robot friends come to help, and you have to hit them out of the way so you can get to her. and it's really cool. Like if you get one of them a big clock to the face, sometimes you'll see that the actual ring, you see that something's going on in your brain, and instead of being in in the actual locale where the boss is, you're then zooming back out to, you're basically fading out into like an actual boxing ring, and you're like fighting a la Rocky Balboa kind of a thing. It's really interesting, and and I appreciated all that, but again, just the segments leading up to it were just not fun. It was just me just playing it so I can get to the boss battle, and it wasn't anything fun or engaging. So that is my one gripe about this game, that really was kind of a major gripe for me. But if you feel like you're fine without doing that to go through the story, or if you're fine just playing through arcade mode and fighting all the bosses, I think you can't go wrong with this, especially if you're a Punch-Out fan. It's extremely well made. It looks beautiful. The actual combat gameplay is really well done. And again, if you like Punch-Out, or if you like sort of these puzzle-style games like this, with the fighting aspects like this, I think this is a definite must-buy if you are one of those fans. If you're just, again, looking for just a really good kind of a story single-player thing, you're not going to find it here, but I don't think anyone looking for this game is really going to be looking for something like that anyway. So hope you guys enjoyed the review. I will see you all next time.